What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the DX Gamer Show. I'm Mike, aka Operation DX, and we have arrived here at episode 9, where I continue working on my space program in 1.0 plus, 1.04 to be exact. And now we're just doing the standard thing. Gonna look through the contracts here, and looks like we finally got ourselves a contract to Minmus. We do have that contract to fly by. We didn't get the simple let's just go land and explore mission, and looks like this is very similar to the mission that we did in the previous 2 episodes. But you know what? I won't stretch it out because it's very similar to what we did last time, so we'll get this all done in 1 episode, even if it takes a half an hour. Okay, so a couple pieces of technology I want to unlock since I am heading over to Minmus. I'm going to grab something that'll give us a little more science, and finally gonna give myself some solar panels and lights, which I desperately need. Well, actually I haven't run into power issues, but I suspect that I'm going to start building craft that is going to be a little more power hungry. Taking a look at the SAS systems do draw a little bit more power. I was taking a look at the mobile processing lab, and that thing is a power hungry beast, so I'm sure I'm going to need more advanced power systems. I'm saving my assembly here because I'm once again redesigning my moon lander, and even though the previous craft could have easily made it to Minmus and back without too much trouble, I actually started to realize that I need to level up my scientists, because when I stick them in the mobile processing unit, when they have higher levels, they do more good, get more science and all that good stuff, and that is exactly what I want. However, that is not the only reason why I want to redesign this rocket. One of the problems I'm having with it is in the re-entry phase. Around 1900 meters a second, I really have to struggle to keep the craft on course because it's top heavy, so it wants to flip around, and I'm getting sick of that. I want something that just kind of settles in, and I don't know, it's a lot easier that way. So most of the weight of the craft that's going to re-enter the atmosphere is on the bottom of this one, so that makes things a lot easier. The majority of this craft is essentially the same thing, so off we go on our Minmus mission. So just to kind of reiterate here, we have a contract to fly by Minmus, and then we have a contract to do a whole bunch of stuff very similar to the last mission, which again we did in 2 parts, but I'm going to go ahead and do this one in a single episode. Anyway, I'm going to do a little bit of experimentation during this episode. I'm going to go ahead and use the moon as a gravity assist to kind of fling myself around into a just really high orbit around Kerbin. This is not necessary to do at all for this craft. It can get to Minmus on its own. But I'm going to be testing out some fuel-saving maneuvers for future missions to other planets, because of course I have that mission or contract to Duna, and I'm going to get a ton of science on this mission, which is what I'm really looking forward to. And there's a couple of things I could do in the local system. I'm thinking that I could get a little bit more science, but I'm not sure. Maybe, you know, this will be enough to unlock enough stuff to actually get me all the way over to Duna and Ike, and hopefully I get some contracts for those, and I'm looking forward to those future missions. They are going to be quite challenging because, again, parts in this game aren't quite performing as they used to, as I've expressed before in some previous episodes. And the aero braking maneuver, I'm really just kind of trying to wrap my head around how exactly I'm going to go about doing that, because I have to have a burn stage after that unless I'm going to leave the craft permanently on Duna. I typically like to do a return trip, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't really kind of put it together yet, so I'm really going to have to think about it. So here, clearly you can see I'm having some trouble with the maneuver node. It's not that it's super challenging to set up an approach to min-miss. It's just that I keep getting interference from the moon from my current position. I guess I get if I just waited a little bit. But the earlier you create the maneuver node, the easier it is to set up, and you can do bigger changes with less delta V. And that's why I try to do this as early as possible. And still, I'm experimenting here. So this whole setup might seem a little bit strange, what I'm doing here, trying to do the gravity assist and all that, and taking a really kind of long roundabout way to min-miss. But yeah, it's just for future missions. I'm just playing around with some ideas, so when I actually, start doing those things, I have a good idea of how things are going to behave and stuff, because I haven't quite had to do some of these really more efficient maneuvers. So I'm really going to have to get on top of my game here and figure some of this stuff out. So here we are. We have arrived at min-miss. So we have 5 different locations we have to hit. So in the contract, we have to land down, do a crew report, and then we have to take surface samples twice, and then we have to fly over 2 different locations and do a crew report. So once again, even though I do have lights on my craft, I kind of want to put the area in the light. It makes it easier. I won't wait too long, but I'll do one more pass, and then I'll land down here. And I know in the comments that it's been suggested that I try a couple of mods that help make this easier. But once I did it that one time, I've pretty much got it down. I get it, I understand how it works. But some mods, kind of would be helpful. I do love that enhanced nav ball, and I like the idea of that manager program that was suggested that puts a little reticle on the ground that shows you where some of these areas are. And, it's kind of interesting in this particular mission because things move around a little bit. If you notice here, I think that I'm approaching the area I'm supposed to be approaching, but actually because min-miss is spinning and I'm coming from a retrograde position, I kind of missed it there, and then I had to do a little backtracking and then land down here. So in this one, I'm going to be kind of going back and forth between speeding up time, because I do apologize. Even though this is min-miss, we are at a different location. We've done this mission. Well, it's not, but we did the mission in the last 2 episodes. So, I it's like the 3rd time I've said it, I know, but I just kind of feel bad about doing those because, this is what the contracts are telling me. And the thing of it is we have to go to these places in order to get to the science so we can unlock the stuff in the tree necessary to get us to other planets. I get really concerned about, we're in the 9th episode of the series, and I kind of want to keep it, somewhat entertaining. I could build some crazy craft, but I'm essentially just playing the game here. I'm just trying to, work all this out, and, I do have that concern about the entertainment value of this series. So if you guys are liking it, I'm going to keep rolling, and I will finish up the tech tree and play around with some of the new parts, and I can't wait to get to the resource system. And here we are. Here we are naming another flag. The suggestion in the comments was something sad, and I didn't want to put it in the flag because I felt bad. Actually, it was mentioned that I mentioned something about the SpaceX failure, and that's just really not cool. I would do something in memory of as a thing of respect, but, I don't know. I don't want to put anything inappropriate on the flag regarding that. I'll put inappropriate things in the flag, but not regarding that. Anyways, I'm just rambling today. I feel kind of tired during this episode, so I do apologize if I seem a little bit low. Yeah, just been busy doing some stuff. So anyways. So here we are collecting the bulk of our science. And that means that my future decisions on what I unlock in the tech tree are of paramount importance, because the game no longer gives you additional science if you do future, experiments in the same locations. So, I've never felt this way in this game before, where I feel like I could really screw up if I don't unlock the correct things. But, I feel like I've been doing okay balancing the money and the science. But it doesn't seem like there's a lot more big science to be had, because we've been to the moon and now we've been to Minmus. And I don't know, there are different biomes I could experiment with here, but I personally want to move forward to bigger things, flying to other planets, setting up stations and bases and that kind of stuff. Again, can't wait to get to the resource thing and scanning down the planets and seeing how that whole system works. Now that I've seen how the mission structure works, I'm kind of thinking that the scanning's probably somewhat similar to that, so whatever, I can deal with it. Cross that bridge when I get there. But also, what you do now in this stage of the game, because if I was just playing the science aspect of the career, then, it would just be that, and I wouldn't have to worry about the expense of the rockets. But ultimately, you're dictated by the contracts you get, which are completely random. So, and again, I'm not sure exactly how that works, if you unlock certain technologies or if you have accomplished certain contracts, or if you're going for the bigger contracts or whatever. The game kind of recognizes that you're doing this and kind of caters towards that. I haven't quite felt that out yet. I do know that every time I see one of those ferry Kerbals up into orbit, or land them on the moon, or take them over to Minmus, I just want to mash on the X button. The economics of it usually isn't really good. It's almost to the point where it's like the cost of the rocket, and I guess you just do those for reputation. I don't really get the reputation system right now in this game. I don't know. I haven't really played around with that building that allows you to trade certain things like science for money, or reputation for science, or I don't know. If you could do that, maybe I might want to consider doing that for a little extra science, if that's possible. I'm not sure if it is in that building. I haven't even looked at it in this series. Maybe I should just give it a look and just kind of go through each thing and see what is going on there. I don't know. I'd imagine that building is if you're not doing so well and you're failing a couple contracts. And I imagine if I had negative reputation, I don't know. Like, I mean, I can see how. I mean, I feel like I'm doing well, and I feel like there is still a potential of failure. Which I haven't quite experienced again in this game. But I don't know. I'm doing these missions pretty well. I mean, I've played the game a frickin' crap ton. I can fly the rockets quite well. I can fly the planes. The new atmosphere model is a little interesting, but I haven't had too much trouble with it. So that aspect isn't really the thing. The thing I'm really concerned about is that whole Duna trip, because I still don't know. I don't want to build a monstrosity of a rocket, but anyway, if you saw the flag I typed in with Jeb, I put woot woot, kind of suggesting I'm making fun of Bob, and then Bob's just like, Jeb, you're a dick. I don't know if you guys caught that, but again, shouldn't be allowed to name flags. I don't know. I don't know what my problem is. I don't know. I don't care about the flags, whatever. Okay, so now I'm just going to just shoot off my remaining science packages. And I don't know if this actually gives me extra science or not. Because I've noticed when I finish some contracts that I got 0 science for some of the stuff. So I imagine I'll see that in this one. This time I just kind of... those engines had a little bit of fuel left in them. I just dumped them and left them there. I guess maybe I can come up with some kind of contraption to pick them later pick them up later if the game doesn't just discard them at some point. I don't know if the game's gonna do that, but that pod is still flying around Kerbin that I rescued the scientist. So I don't know. Maybe I can figure out a way to get that pod down. I don't know. I don't think it has a docking port, so I don't know if I can attach an engine to it, but I can probably use that little grabber thing that you grab onto asteroids with to bring that guy down. I don't know. All right, so doing a plane change here. I got my first flyover was successful. These areas are rather large, and mimics your flying kind of slow, so it's really not too tough. And then I kind of like this little system I have where I set a maneuver node when I'm knowing I'm coming across here. And it seems like within a minute and a half, the indicator pops up. There we go, crew report. Now it is time to do another plane change and head back to Kerbin. And I have just plenty of fuel here, so it seems like, I don't know, maybe I should do a little experiment with this rocket to see how it does on a ejection of the Kerbin system and potentially heading over to Duna. Although my current contract for Duna is a exploration contract, so I have to land down, transmit science, and all of that. I don't think I have to return, but I do have to transmit science. And I still haven't unlocked rover wheels, so landing down a rover is kind of out of the question at the moment, but it may be something I might want to consider in the future, just land something that is permanently going to just sit on Duna. But I really would like to come up with some sort of design that would allow me to land and then return. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Another thing here is, since I had a ton of fuel left over, and just to protect myself from all the heat stuff, I slowed myself down significantly for my approach into Kerbin. I didn't do a steep approach. I did get a couple of heat warning indicators. I thought I was going to get them on the lights because the lights are just kind of hanging out there. Seems like I'm getting them on my parachutes, which I definitely do not like. It's probably because I'm not sitting on the right point on the retrograde indicator, but I didn't have too much trouble there. The craft settled in exactly how I wanted it to. Pretty much can just disable SAS, and the craft will just kind of settle in all by itself, and I like how it does that. So now that I've returned, and short of, I don't know, pretty much, I don't know what could happen to cause a disaster once you've gotten to this point. Coming back with a whole bunch of science, and hopefully Bob got some experience, because that's exactly why I took him along, so I can put him up in that processing unit. But gonna have to hire some more Kerbals. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I feel like I should be taking Bob on the important missions and maybe leveling up some more. I don't know. I don't know what happened here when it splashed down. It seems I broke the top of the rocket off, and yeah, anyways. So I have 900 plus science to work with. That's not too bad. I definitely can unlock some of the bigger rocket stuff. I definitely want to get that lab. I want to get a normal size docking port. Need some bigger engines. There's lots of stuff I need to take a look at and try to do it as efficiently as possible. But there we go. So Bob leveled up twice, and looks like Jeb did pretty good there. And we made a ton of money. So we're sitting at about $1.5 million credits, money. Not too bad. I feel kind of bad that I rambled a little bit during this video. Was tired, but that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching.